Yeah.
Dave, I wanted to ask you, and then
Mhm.
don't worry, we will close this out with more It's Me Billy talk. But I wanted
Mhm.
to ask you about Freddy Krueger because
Mhm.
you are playing Freddy Krueger in the new Dylan's New Nightmare.
I am.
Now, was that a pretty scary? You know, I just talked about doing Billy's voice. Now, this is not just a voice. You're putting on the freaking suit, everything. How did that all come together?
Well, Cecil, it was the same summer that we went into development on chapter 1 of It's Me, Billy. Cecil had Cecil Laird of the Horror Show YouTube channel had approached me in the summer of 2019 and asked if I would be interested, basically in the Cliff Notes version, asked if I would be interested in playing Freddy Krueger in his fan film Dylan's New Nightmare. And my first thought was, well, who's like in my head, I'm thinking, well, who's all involved, right? And then I learned that Vincent DeSanti was on as a producer. That's a plus. I learned that Miko Hughes was reprising his role as Dylan. Of course, Miko was a Hollywood child star in the 90s. Everything from Pet Sematary to Kindergarten Cop to Full House to, Spawn, Mercury Rising, Apollo 13. He was in a bunch of shit.
Yeah, definitely.
And of course, Wes Craven's New Nightmare.
Right.
And so I thought, oh, that's great. And Cecil told me the story about it and how it all came to be, and how he approached him at a convention and said, hey, if I wrote a script, would you read it? And he's like, yeah, I guess I'd take a look at it. So Cecil wrote a script, pitched it to Miko. Miko liked it, came on board. And I thought, well, so you got Vince on board, you got Miko on board, you got Cecil on board. I mean, this is, this sounds like these are professionals who know what they're doing. And, because I have had people ask me who've reached out because of my YouTube channel. Hey, Dave, I'm making a movie. It's in Tupelo, Mississippi. We'd love you to play this role. And I'm like, well, what's it about? But I'm like, well, you're going to have, you have to fly me out. You have to pay me. I mean, I'm a professional. I don't, I'm not just going to go down there.
Like Genie and you just show up.
Yeah, exactly. And they're like, oh, well, so, but this wasn't like that. This was very professional. And so I said yes. And then they ran a campaign and we would have shot the movie in 2020, but the what hit the world, and we were delayed. And of course, I'm in Canada, so is Bruce. Obviously, we're here in Toronto, and the border between Canada and the US closed, so I couldn't fly to the States unless it was not an emergency, but what's the words I'm looking for? Unless it was unless I had to for some reason, and I can't think of the word now. Anyway, I didn't qualify. Dylan's New Nightmare didn't qualify. So we had to wait. And then of course we shot It's Me, Billy in between all that. And finally in 2022, last November, I flew to Phoenix, Arizona, and we shot Dylan's New Nightmare for a week. And I had a wonderful time. It was fantastic. The crew was great. The cast was great. Shout out to everybody. Just a lot of fun. And the vibe on the Dylan's New Nightmare set was very similar to the vibe on the Billy set. Everybody just working hard, having fun, good times, good laughs. It was really good. I was very thankful, because I'm the only, Canadian. I'm the only one that's like flying all that way. So it was good. And everybody was fantastic. I consider them all friends. So it's really great.
Now, when you put on the getup as Freddy for the first time, when you look in the mirror, are you like kind of taken aback? Like, whoa, this is because I saw the prosthetics and it looks really good, like professional, like freaking Robert England.
Yeah.
So one, what was your reaction first time you saw that? And then two, did it make the performance easier?
I would say that, sorry, close that down. Yes, of course, it made the performance a lot easier, 100%. So shout out to Nora Hewitt, who was season 9 Face Off winner. I don't think the show Face Off is on anymore, but Face Off was, of course, it was like an American Idol, but for special effects makeup artists. And she won season 9. And she also went to the Tom Savini's school in Pennsylvania. Tom Savini, of course, Hollywood special effects makeup artist, Friday the 13th, and you know, all that kind of stuff. And she graduated from that. She's worked on The Mandalorian, and I think she worked a little bit on Ghostbusters Afterlife. And so she's legit. And she's I love her. She's fantastic. And she's just so much fun to work with. And so she did the cast, her and her wife, Rachel, did the cast of my head in 2019 before shit hit the fan.
Yeah.
And then she outsourced the mold because they knew what they wanted it to look like. It's a combination of I think this information is out there now, so I can say this. It's a combination of A Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy, which is my favorite look. He looks so mean and, you know, it's crazy.
That's my favorite too.
It's a combination of Demon Freddy from Freddy versus Jason, if you look at the ears and things like that, and then I guess a little bit of New Nightmare in there too. So she outsourced the mold to her fellow special effects makeup artist friend Mikey Rotella, who goes by Mikey Rots on Instagram, who did the new Predator, who did the creature at the end of the new movie, that horror movie Smile. He did that. Yeah, he's legit. Like, he's full on Hollywood special. He's legit. Well, he did my Freddy. And so he's always wanted to do Freddy, and he's like, yeah, I'll do it. So he did it. And then Nora did the painting, right? So he did the mold, and then Nora put the foam latex on me. I think it was in 7 or 8 pieces. Took about 4.5, 5 hours. The first day I think was 6 hours because we were really trying to kind of find the groove. And then by the third day it was like 4 hours. You know what I mean? Because she had found her rhythm. Yeah. And she painted it all and everything. And then, you know, I had the contacts. It was my very first time ever wearing contacts. I've never worn contacts in my life. Thank you, Nora, for helping me. I couldn't get it in. I'm like doing this and I couldn't get it. So I actually kneeled in front of her. And I'm going like this, and she's like, okay. And she's putting the contacts in and she's doing this, and it worked. Nora, we're a team. So the next time we do it, we know what we're doing. We're doing. So, but yeah, that first day in the chair, Nora had left, and I have footage of this, which I am not allowed to release yet. Once the movie is out there, there's going to be so much shit that's going to be released about this. I think there's even almost like a feature length behind the scenes documentary they're putting together. Nice. So there's a lot of stuff. But when I was in the getup, like full on Robert Englund, 1984 kind of shit. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's not a mask. It's foam latex. I'm in the makeup chair for 4 hours, and she leaves to go and do something out on the set. And I'm just left in the makeup room with the mirror in front of me. And I don't see me anymore. I just see Freddy Krueger. And so I was playing around. I was doing all sorts of Freddy-isms and getting into character and playing all this stuff. And so you're going to see that, you know what I mean? Just kind of like a behind the scenes, my first day kind of getting into.
It's almost like you're looking at somebody else and not yourself.
100%. But the thing is, people have often asked me, you know, how did it feel? Was it difficult? You know, did you have to watch all the movies? I was like, I don't mean, and I've said this before, I'll say it again. What I'm about to say is I do not mean it to sound in like a braggadocious way or pretentious. I don't mean it to sound that way at all. It's just the truth. It's the truth. Yeah. It fit like a glove. I had no issues. It was like I was born to play the character. Yeah. You know, I've been a Freddy fan like a lot of us have since we were like, 5, right? You know what I mean? We were watching all the movies in the 80s. And so, you know, I mean, I was into Freddy before I was into Michael. I mean, it came like shortly after, maybe like a year before. But a lot of kids got into Freddy and Jason before they got into Michael, because Michael, he died in the 1981 film, and then there wasn't another Halloween film until 1988. So in between 81 and 88, Freddy and Jason was what's happening, right? So a lot of kids and teenagers got into those two first. And I was no exception. So I just felt so natural in it. And I'm an actor, I'm a performer, I'm extroverted. it takes me nothing to get into the mannerisms and to perform and to do all it. And so it felt really good. It felt really, really good.
Now, you've played a lot of roles. Was that one of the toughest that you've ever had to tackle? Or not really?
I don't think it wasn't one of the toughest. No. And again, I don't mean it to sound this way, but it wasn't one of the toughest, not by a long shot. But I will say it has the most expectations to it.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of, it wasn't the toughest to play, but there was definitely a lot. I know what's riding it, because like you just said, if Freddie doesn't work, then, now, I mean, it's art, right? People are going to like it. Some people aren't going to like it. I mean, that's just, that's just the nature of the, of the game. But I feel that I've done Robert Englund proud. I think I've done the character justice. And I think people are going to watch it and be like, yeah, that's definitely Freddie. I think he's done a really good job. That's how I feel about it anyway.
I think the stills, that have been posted online, you look fantastic.
Insane.
Like just fantastic.
Insane.
Like, I wish that the Freddie remake,
well, Bruce has seen some of the behind the scenes.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Stuff. Yeah. You're not going to be disappointed. You're not going to be disappointed. I don't think so at all. I think, I think what Cecil and the rest of the team has done, they're gonna, it's awesome. All I'll say is,
it's cool, Bruce, when you get those a little bit of, I know something that you don't know, right?
Yeah, I could just say I want more.
I will say I'm an associate producer on this Crow fan film that's coming.
Okay,
and
cool.
I started talking about this 2 years ago with Cody Falk, and carefully planning it, and I'll give him all the credit because they're the ones making the movie. I'm kind of an advisory role. Like we literally talk just about every day. Hey, because I am I'm a Crow fanatic, and so he'll ask me questions and everything.
Right.
But I've seen what the title character looks like, and I'll just say when people see it, holy shit, it's really good. It's really good.
Yeah, and I feel the same with what they've done with Dave. With
Freddie. I mean, Dave looks so amazing as Freddie.
Yeah, and even the voice too. Again, hats off to you, dude. Like it's.
Thank you.
I think you did a great job.
Yeah. Obviously the voice is really important. I know that, and people have. I've told people my job is not to go in. It's funny. I think people are going to. My job was not to go in and do a Robert Englund impression, because then you're just setting yourself up for failure. I've always said that, as long as you can watch me and go, well, it's not Robert, but it's totally Freddie, then I've won. The ironic thing about that is that there have been a few cast crew, that have been like, nah, you kind of nailed it anyway.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it kind of has a Robert thing to it anyway. And I'm like, well, good. That's good then. That's good. But that wasn't my job, because then
Robert played the character 90-ish% of the time. Jackie Earle Haley only did it once.
That's right.
It's almost impossible to not squeak a little bit of that Robert Englund in a performance every now and then, right?
Well, and not only that, the makeup looks like him.
It
right.
Does.
So I mean,
so
it people are gonna, I mean, it would be different if the design of Freddie was not Robert, then people might, do you know what I mean? But because it looks like him, and it's his sort of likeness, his Freddie likeness, then I think that's only going to help the illusion. I'm very proud of it, and I'm proud of everybody that worked on it. It's the first installment, so keep that in mind. It's a short film as well, and very much like Billy and Never Hike in the Snow or whatever. It is. If it does well and people really like it, then hopefully people come out to support the next one so they can finish it. That's the idea, and I think people are going to enjoy it. Yeah, I do. I like what I'm seeing so far.
What's up, guys? You are at the end of the DDLive clip. What I do is I like to clip these out if I think the topic is important or something that's newsworthy. So thank you for watching. And if you want to watch more, you can go over here. You can go over here, click on one of those. And hopefully I can do this for 20 seconds, which I think I did. Okay, so thanks for watching, guys.